Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Hello, and welcome back to Piece by Piece. We are glad that you are joining us today as we discuss a check-in procedure that we do frequently with Alec. We're going to call this, How's Your Mind? How's Your Body?
Yep.
This is just one way that we keep Alec and our team kind of flowing throughout the day, and this allows Alec to give some say and some feedback to us as we talk about what his day looks like and what they're going to do to fill their shift time.
Yeah. And we've had several professionals suggest that we do this. And when it was first brought up, I was kind of like, I'm not sure I really want to do that because it seems like it would put a lot of pressure on him in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it would also maybe make him focus too heavily on, oh, how am I feeling? And how is my mind? How is my body? And sometimes bringing too much attention to that is a cause for hyperfocus for him.
For sure.
So I didn't want it to turn into that, but somehow that didn't happen. It seems like he appreciates the buy-in. I mean, the chance to buy in during these check-ins, and it also helps shape appropriate activities for the day if we know how he's feeling. If his mind is only at a 3 and it's gray outside, it's like, okay, we know we need to do certain things. He needs movement. He needs to get out of the house. So it helps us kind of shape the day. So the questions that we ask him are, first off, how are you feeling? How is your mind? How is your body? And he gives us a rating from 1 to 5 on how that is. And so that just helps us know where to start, what we need to do. A lot of times, one of the ways that we helped with a low rating on the mind was that we would take him to the gym more often. That was one of the things that tended to help his body and his mind. So this also helps kind of coordinate our team members where they come in and they can look over what's being done and discuss with him kind of, what do you want to do today? This is what's set on the scheduled calendar. These are the appointments we have to do. Today is work day. So it gives them a chance to look over those things that are set to do. And then sometimes they're able to let Alec shape some of the day, like, do you want to pick a chore that you're really excited to show me today, or chore that you want to work on today? Or if there's any other activity that he wants, sometimes he will ask for a certain kind of exercise, or he really needs to take a walk to get his mind in the right place or his body feeling good and energized. So that really is what the check-in is all about.
Yeah.
And it's been very beneficial to Alec, I would say.
Yeah. So we want to tell you a little bit about how this looks and what we use to make this functional for Alec. He has a really nice setup in his home with a desk that is his communication space. His keyboard is accessible. We hang it up with just Velcro, and he's able to pull his keyboard for initiation. Back on the wall, we have a large calendar with daily activities, and we've got different people on our team that help kind of coordinate to make sure that he's got a variety of things scheduled for his team members. That's anything from going to the zoo down in Salt Lake if they've got a shift that's got the time to do so, to going to the rec center, to the pool, to an arcade, bowling, pottery, whatever the variety of activities are that he enjoys doing. And he's got passes that get him into these places that he frequents for, memberships and whatnot. So those are scheduled on a large calendar that he can reference, look at, be excited about those things. On that, we also will make sure that he's aware when visits from mom or siblings or nieces and nephews or myself are coming in and out of town. Those are on the calendar, and birthdays. So he can be a part of those celebrations. And then the team is also aware of those things as they're posted clearly for everybody to see. And then, like Christy said, when the team member comes in, they sit down and have a little chat. So, hey, Al, we're going to sit down and talk about what we're going to do today. How are you feeling? How's your body? How's your mind? And then after those ratings are given, we then can control the narrative with a follow-up question. Oh, bummer, you're not feeling so great today. What's one thing you want to do today that's going to turn this 3 into a 5? Would you like to get outside? Would you like to go to the arcade? Do you want to, show me how awesome you are at cleaning the toilet? Let's talk about this so that we can kind of make sure that the narrative in his mind is a positive one. And then also, same thing with his body. You're a 5 today. That's great. What about today makes it a 5? And maybe he had a great night's sleep or whatever. Like, we also want to be able to focus on the positives and help him make the connections to giving us good feedback there.
And so does this happen at the beginning of every shift?
Yes, this is a start to their shift. The mornings are a little bit different just because after Alec wakes up, he has his morning routine and gets his meds. So it's maybe an hour into their shift, but it's still, this meeting happens before they dive into chores or before they're leaving the house for activities. So
And then about how long does it take?
anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Depending
I mean,
on
everyone has to remember that Alec is a letter tapper. He uses a letter board to speak, so everything is a little painstaking. He can tap pretty quickly, but his expressing himself takes some time.
It does.
So 5 to 10 minutes is not a huge investment in the day.
No. And like Christy said, we like Alec having some buy-in. We don't want to burden him with having too much pressure to totally structure his day. So the team works together in this, and that's one thing that's really nice. If you've got more than one caretaker coming in, it's nice that they have a little bit of, hey, what already happened today, without taking 15 minutes to have a conversation. So we keep notes from all of these meetings in a ringed binder that helps team members quickly review what happened at the previous meeting and gives a little context to what he reported and what may be coming from Alec, just so it's not totally out of the blue. And then in addition, we've got a really nice setup of binders with pictures. We do a lot of PECs kind of setup for Alec that helps him, again, visually picture what his day looks like. So it's
and what
just
is PECs?
PECs is Picture Exchange Communication System. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But on this board, it's just a whiteboard that we've put Velcro on. And as you're communicating, we're just pulling what things we're going to do. So we're going to make lunch today. We're going to get out and go for a walk. We're going to wipe the counters down, and we're going to set aside some time to watch a show and have some chill time. And so we would pull pictures that would represent each of those activities and lay them out on his board. And if this particular team member was not able to complete all the tasks that were laid out on the board, those items are still there so that Alec's day then continues with the next person that comes in. And they say, hey, it's my turn to sit down with you. I see that we still need to go for a walk.
So you have some continuity.
Yeah. So Alec's day is not so much segmented by the team members coming in at different times. His day continues with what his wishes or input was, as well as the structure that we've outlined for our team members to follow.
Right. And we have what we call large check-ins. Is that what we call them? Large check-ins?
Yeah, deep dive with Alec, a little
Yeah.
bit of a digging a little bit in
Yeah.
depth to
Deep
kind of
dive.
what's
Deep
going
dive.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this large check-in, and that happens when Angie visits. Angie goes up about once a month
Hmm.
for a couple of days, and she's looking at everything as a consultant does. And so we take this time to kind of step aside with Alec, and we take him away with just the two of us so that he can be totally open about what's happening at home and in his programming and in his day-to-day life with his team members. So it's not like a spill all and, tell all kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it can be if that's what he wants it to be. He's extremely loyal to his team
Oh, he
members.
really
He
is.
adores them. And so he's typically very complimentary of them.
Hmm.
In fact, this past check-in, we were checking in and he was like, we said, tell us about this team member, tell us something good and tell us something they need to work on. And he was incredibly just full of praise for them.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of heartwarming and nice. Um, it gives him less pressure that he can kind of be alone with us because we are his longest running caretakers.
Right.
And so he's developed a lot of trust with us and knowing that he can say things that he needs to say and we're not going to tell anybody. And so anyway, we deep dive into his medical, his feelings about things, his and then the feedback on the team members and any other thing he wants to talk about. And he's usually pretty open and pretty chatty.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had one time that is we have remembered fondly when he gave me some feedback, which, in the ABA, applied behavior analysis world, we love feedback because it
Gotta be
can,
able to take feedback, right?
you got to be able to take feedback, even when you're the mother and you, and you painstakingly try to give him a good life. He sometimes will kind of knock you down a few notches. So he had told me that I needed to stop micromanaging his team because I was going to scare them off. And what did you reply, Angie?
Well, I
Backstory,
gotta,
backstory.
yeah, I gotta rewind and give a little bit of context here because during this time, Alec was in a toileting regression, we'll call it. He
Yes.
was wetting often, and it was happening, I don't know, often being once a day, sometimes twice a day, or we'd go a couple days and think that we were on the up and up and it would happen again.
And this was during the day, which
Yes.
is highly unusual for him unless he's upset about something or it's kind of the way that if he regresses, he will regress in the toileting area.
Yes, yes. So, and obviously, those with kids on the spectrum, this is not news to anybody. This is just part of it, the ebbs and flows. But he was in a state of regression. We had hired a handful of new team members, and they unknowingly, when we kind of got to the root of it, had untrained his toileting by directing him frequently to the bathroom. And so then he was waiting to be told to go to the bathroom. So we had set up a whole protocol. We got him back on track, but this was kind of in the thick of the toileting. So as he is correcting his mother and telling her to not micromanage his team, I could not help but say, "Dude, are you kidding me? If anyone's going to run your team off, it's going to be you wetting yourself frequently. Like no 21, 22, 23-year-old, however our older team averages in age, wants to be cleaning up and dealing with you wetting yourself." But thanks for
So,
the feedback. We appreciate it.
thank you for the feedback. You might have a little bit of responsibility here.
Yeah, check yourself though.
Check yourself, bro. Yeah, and he is, you know, this is new to all of you to hear us talk about how we communicate with Alec, but we have always really kind of communicated with him as openly as we can.
Yes.
We use humor with him anytime we can.
And he does with us.
He uses
He's
humor with
hilarious.
us, which is so refreshing.
Which,
Like that was the cool thing about the board is that he can totally be
yeah,
funny.
that same check-in that we were asking, give us some praise and give us something that our team members could work on. And this one in particular, he suggested they love to go. This is one of his bros. He loves to go to the gym. They do that frequently in the morning. He told this team member that he needed to work on his guns so that he could be as strong as Alec. And I mean, it just makes us laugh. Alec is very strong, but so is this team member that's taking him and showing him how to work out and move his body in new ways at the gym.
He's quite fit. He's quite fit. So, yeah. Alec was totally just messing with the guy.
Yeah.
By giving that feedback because he knew we would probably tell him.
Yeah. That one we got permission to share.
Which we did. We also do these things called bubble maps. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but it's one of the ways that we practice Alec's communication. And we're making a center bubble with the subject that we're going to talk about. Then we do bubbles coming out of that main bubble that provide secondary things about the bubble. Descriptions. Yeah. And so we do this every year that Alec has been living in Utah. So we're on our 6th one that we're about to put on his Instagram. And it's fun to see what he's thinking about. Oh, what have you thought about this past year? And one of the sad things on it this year was he's been seizure free for a year. And now we haven't even printed the picture yet for his 6th year. But that's kind of, focusing on the negative. He was extremely happy with this past year and has had a lot of fun doing a lot of different things. So anyway, it's just a fun way to check in with him and say, hey, what are your views about this? And really having him join in on what his life is going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. We love to get his thoughts, but most shifts just start this way. And it's great for them to be able to sit down and really plan out the team member with him. What are we going to do? We've got this many hours. How do you want to spend it?
Yeah. And I think that, we could have done this probably when he was younger. And I wish we had, as soon as he had some sort of communication on the level that you need to be able to do this. But I also think you could modify it for a child that doesn't communicate as well. And you can also modify it for a speaking child, just according to how the child is understanding.
Yeah.
Back and forth conversation, because I think getting their input is so important to how they want to shape their day. And you don't think of a child like our kids as being able to have a say in what they're going to be doing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because I know when he was little, it was just go, go, go. We've got to get as many hours in a week of therapy as we can. And I love now that we are in the phase of life where we can kind of step back and say, hey, we want your input. We want you to tell us what you want out of life, and make sure that we're always thinking about, are we just going through the motions and telling him what to do? Or is he really being an adult and saying, this is what I feel like I want to do today?
Right. Without the pressure of doing too much of it. I think one other really nice parameter we put in place is to say, within our expectations, here's some choices. Pick one. Today we are going to do some sort of workout. Do you want to do it at the gym? Do you want to do it outside? Or do you want to do it in your basement workout room?
Right.
And so we're structuring his day with all of the things, again, that we're expecting our team to help him do that we know will give him a fulfilling life.
Yes.
And then letting him say, okay, I get to work out today and I'm just not really up for going to the gym, but man, it is beautiful and I want to get some sunshine. I want to go outside.
Yes.
So Kind of tailoring it within our parameters. He gets those
we're
choices.
not just opening up the world to him and saying,
Right.
what do you want to do today? We're saying, these are the chores. We got to do chores every day. So
Yeah, you're an adult. And
Yeah.
this is what adults have to do. So rock out with these chores. Which one do you want to do today?
Yeah.
We have to do laundry because it's piling up, but outside of that, maybe pick one more to do.
Yeah.
So it's been a great way to really help not only Alec, because obviously we want him to be supported, but as our team members come in, I do think one of the hardest things in having somebody come into your home and to say, hey, spend this many hours with my kid, they're going, ooh, how do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I structure my time? And as we've trained as many people as we have over time, that has been the feedback given to me. I, need some more instruction on how do I break up a 3-hour, 4-hour shift. So this is one way that we've really tried to help everybody be able to have a little bit more structure, is to say, we've got the picture schedule board. We're using the picture exchange communication, the PECs, as a way to, give us a visual for what's coming throughout the day. And you can really fill that board with a wide variety of things. So
I think it's also important to note that one of the big challenges for Alec has been, and a lot of children with autism, is that they don't know how to structure their day.
right.
They absolutely don't have a clue how to structure it. And so it provides a structure, but a flexible structure where it doesn't become a routine. It's a routine to plan for what are we going to do for this shift, but it's never going to be the same thing, so that he doesn't get caught in a rut and it just have his expectations crushed and have behaviors, etc. We've taught him to be flexible by saying, okay, you can choose within these parameters, and then that will structure your day without making it every single thing a predictable routine.
Yeah. Lots of variety to keep it from being too rigid, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. That's a wrap for today's episode of Piece by Piece. If you're loving these conversations as much as we are, hit that follow button, share the show, and help us spread the word, because every piece of the story matters. If you've got a story, question, or idea, slide into our DMs to shoot us a message. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Bye.
Bye.